In today's video, we're going to take a look at TCG player prices for Commander Masters as we're now less than a week out for the set, and prices have been dropping fast, which is good things for the player base if you want to pick stuff up cheap. So let's do an update and check in today's video. Alright, thank you guys so much for checking out the channel. If you do enjoy what I do here, please hit the like button and subscribe, and click the bell icon if you want to stay notified for all up-to-date videos. I try to post videos daily. At least we've been on a streak now for a couple weeks. I'm hoping to at least keep that up in some capacity, but that's what we've got going on. So yeah, we're going to take another look at Commander Masters. I did a video last week looking at TCG Player and Card Kingdom prices, and they were through the roof. But as we get closer to the set actually releasing, and as more people start to list on TCG Player, obviously it's still only specific stores that can, but now there were preview events, and people have had a chance to get stuff, and we are seeing prices come down hard, and I honestly am pretty pumped about it. I know a lot of people might be upset from a value perspective, but let's not forget, I say this every time we talk about this set, these prices are going to go back up over time. It literally is a tried and true method. There's a bottom out point, and then they go back up, and you've got your variants, you've got your foil etch stuff, you've got all that. So there's plenty of room to maneuver and move around with values, but it's good for people who want to get their hands on this stuff cheap. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to skip the foil etch stuff for right now, but we'll touch on it at the end. You can obviously see how significant these prices are. When we did a video last week, Fierce Guardianship Borderless was, I think, somewhere around like 50 to 60 now, down to 32. Almost a 50% drop in just a week, and that's before, mass competition. But there's 35 listings. You see what the graph has done just from where it started to where it is now. And obviously looking even at sold listings, you can see over the past, there's been massive sales rates over the past couple of days, but this was going at least almost $10 higher just, a week ago. And then the further back you go, the more pricey it was. So it's starting to come down, and it's likely going to go down more. The foil version right now is around 81. It was at one point selling for around 100. So again, I want to point out that this is, as we get closer, but values are really looking good from an affordability perspective. Deflecting SWAT, this one really hasn't moved much, but like I said, I think this will be around $22, 22 to 25, and it looks like it's well on its way. Darksteel Monolith, we've actually got some pricing data for, which is good to see. I think this card's insane. I think it's going to be the most expensive thing out of the Eldrazi deck by far. Really cool to see. $30 is a little steep, especially considering the price of the deck, but, if you're getting the deck, at least, some of the things in there will end up having value. This is available in the main set as an extended art, so there, will remains to be seen whether or not it will end up, differentiating in value as we go forward. Right now I'm looking at the rares. We're going to look at the mythics in a minute if you're wondering why some things aren't showing up. Chandra hasn't dipped too much yet, but I think that, people are kind of taking a wait-and-see approach on that. It's also in a deck, so, there's that. Composer of Spring is a card I said I was pretty high on. The graph makes it look like it's dropped a lot more than it has, but it really hasn't. I think people are going pretty heavy on this card, actually, and it could end up being really, really good. These commander decks, are going to be a little bit starved for value, as we talked about how the reprints are not that great. So there's a lot of stuff to look onto here. So a lot of these cards you're seeing on this page here that are really high up are all from the commander decks. And while I, obviously think they're important to cover and talk about, there's no market to compare them to. So it's hard to say where they're going to end up. It will really depend on playability. I would expect them all to drop a bit. Now, moving out of that and into, non-reprint stuff. Also, interestingly enough, Player of Loyalties, Rise of the Eldrazi, decently high price here, but I think you're going to see these come down as well. Arachnogenesis Borderless is down around $13 from a $30 price point, almost $40 actually if you go back beginning of the month. So a great example of a card that was really high up and has just dipped pretty significantly. You can pre-order them for $13 right now, which likely means it will go down more. And it seems like this card's price, while it is an incredibly good card, was definitely locked behind the fact that it hadn't been printed in so many years. But just in a week, we've seen the price drop almost 40%, 45%. Super happy to see Fierce Guardianship here at 25. This just keeps going down. I would love for it to hit like 15. I don't know if it'll go that far, but I mean, this is a great card. And honestly, at this point, if it hits 20 and you don't have one, that's a really good price point to look at. Kindred Dominance at 17, another pretty good one. I think it was at 25 when we talked about it in the video, and nice to see it drop a bit more. I think it'll continue to drop, and I'll explain why in a minute, because the full art is actually selling less, or the borderless is selling less. No movement on Deflecting Swap, but still a really good card. I am so happy to see Cyclonic Rift at 18. That's great. Hopefully that drops a bit more. We'll have to see where it'll end up. I don't know it's going to go too much lower, but being a rare, it's not as hard to get as some of the other stuff. So this is a good price for this card, truth be told. And this will be one that goes back up. Personal Tutor at 18. I mean, I told everybody this. Other people have said it too. It was, you know, an $80 card because it had only been printed once in Portal. Like, it's not the best card ever printed, but it has its uses, and certainly in decks that are really trying to get to a certain strategy that can take advantage of the color, it's a good one to look at. Darksteel Monolith's extended art is much cheaper at 17. The foil's around 40, so this is interesting. Like I said, it's going to be really hard to tell for the Commander deck stuff early on where it's going to end up in price. The other thing to note, of course, is that all of the new cards are available in the collector boosters in the extended art slot. There is a possibility of pulling them. I believe you're guaranteed one Commander extended art, and it has like a 15% chance of being foil. So there will be, you know, some supply depending on how much is cracked open, but it's going to be there. The medallions are falling down pretty good, 16 bucks-ish. The foil etch stuff is going to be an interesting market. It's really niche. I like a lot of it, but it's like they're only in collector boosters, but not everything's going to be expensive, so we'll have to see where it kind of falls. I do like them. I mean, 15, 20 on these is a little high, but we'll see, you know, where they end up in terms of people's actual interest. Deadly Rollick at 16 is great. It could hit 10, really. I don't know if it will, but it could hit 10 or close to 10. Borderless one at 17 is not a bad value either. I would probably recommend that. You're seeing a lot of the extended arts are actually cheaper than the Commander deck variants, probably because, I don't know, maybe there's more of them in supply. I don't really know what the rationale is behind that. You know, we got Grand Abolisher down at 13. Kindred Dominance Borderless, $13.99. That's a great price, like a genuinely really good price for this card, and that means it'll probably end up falling to 10. I mean, the art on this is just incredible. This is such a cool card, and the foil's a bit more, obviously. But I think, well, you know, again, with all the hype and all the opening that this set's going to have, stuff is just going to drop. It's just kind of bound to happen, you know? Miri's down. Personal Tutors Borderless at 13. You can get that cheap. Like, there's all kinds of value here, you know, in terms of just watching the way these things are going. $10 on Flawless Maneuver. So, you know, it's a really good thing if you're a player who cares about affordability to see where these things are going. You know, Dryad, $10. This was like a $25 card before, or maybe 15, 20. I don't know the exact, but it was much higher than it is. And it's really good to see. Heroic Intervention at 8. You know, again, Composer of Spring, another card I talked about, the borderless version, worth way more, worth way less than the other one, which is interesting. But you're kind of seeing the market take shape, and even just looking at the market prices versus lowest listing. As people start to list this stuff, price is coming down, and that's good for affordability of pretty much anything that you wanted to get your hands on. I just think you're going to see a lot of this. $5 for Emerald Medallion is a great price. You know, I don't know, like I said, with the foil etch stuff, what to expect just yet. Mystic Gate, $5 out of the pre-con, finally. You know, see this card come down. Flawless Maneuver, Steel Sheeper's Gift. Actually a little surprising it went up, but I guess because it got rarity upgraded. $5 on these Battle Bond lands. Like, that's a great, great price to have for sure. And the Mythics, too. Like, just, you know, to quickly talk about some of the Mythics. I was looking at all this stuff earlier. You know, Jewel Lotus is down to 93. Pretty damn good. I mean, I think for the borderless, I think it's going to go down a bit more. Doubling Season Foil etched at $60, and we do know this is going to get a double dip reprint and Throne of Eldraine, but that's great. Like, let the regular one go to like 40. Sliver Gravemother holding on pretty tight, honestly. Still selling, actually, at 65. Very weird, because the deck is, you know, readily available for 100, but I guess we'll see what happens with that and where it moves. Foil etched stuff like Avacyn or Dragon, like, there's just no way to tell what the market's going to be for foil etched right now. 48 on Doubling Season is really good to see. Let's keep getting that down. Jeweled Lotus is at 63. I don't think it's going to go down too much more, but there might be a period where you could grab it a bit cheaper. The same with the Commanders. I mean, it's not that they're bad or anything. It's just, I don't know. People are selling them pretty high, and maybe it's because of the increased price of the deck, but I don't think they're going to be that extreme. Dragon's down to 34. Capture of Jingzhou was like 40 when we last looked, so nice to see that. Great Henge at 33. You know, this stuff is really just starting to come down to a much more reasonable price. Demonic Tutor Borderless at 36. That's amazing. Foil's a lot higher, around 70, but that's kind of to be expected for a staple of that nature. 25 on Avacyn, 24 on Demonic Tutor. I hope this drops below 20, I really do, but I don't know that it's going to. It really depends. We're going to see like what it looks like as more and more listings get added and people get more competitive with pricing, trying to make sales, because Friday this goes, you know, officially available to be sold. Craterhoof at 21, Land Tax at 21. Finale under 20 is great. I think I said I didn't think it was going to go that low, but here I am. I was wrong. You know, Archfiend of Despair. These are all just, like, really kind of leveling out in a good way. Smothering Tight at 14. That's awesome. Yeah, could this end up hitting 10, maybe, for a bit? I don't know. That feels low. Feels like a good buy if it does, without a doubt. You know, we're just seeing all kinds of stuff here that is just... It just shows the way TCG Player's pricing system kind of sucks and how it changes so drastically as we get closer. $3 on Kozilek, $4 on Mirari's Wake. I mean, there's all kinds of things here. And then we get into, you know, stuff with no sales like Foil Etched and whatnot. But just in the week and a half since we've done that last video, prices have fallen a ton on a lot of this pre-order stuff. So this is why, like, the patience is good and waiting is good, because you really do have a good chance of getting better deals and also not overpaying for cards just for hype. So just kind of wanted to, like, talk about that a little bit and update everybody on where everything is at. I'm curious, though, have you guys pre-ordered anything yet? Are you still waiting? You know, is the updated pricing of things, you know, starting to, you know, appeal to you a little bit more? Where do you stand on this? Like I said, I will be buying some stuff on Friday. I'll do a video and let you guys know what I bought and why when that time comes, because I think it might be an interesting topic. As always, thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.